Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving into oklch, the CSS color format that's changing how we build accessible, vibrant color systems. If you've ever had HSL colors break your contrast ratios, or wished RGB could produce more vivid, eye-catching colors, this one's for you, because oklch fixes both beautifully. We'll cover what oklch is, 2 big reasons it beats HSL and RGB, and how to use it safely in production with Fallbacks. You'll find links to deeper resources in the description. What is oklch? oklch is a modern CSS color format introduced in the CSS color module level 4 specification. OK stands for OK Lab, a color model based on how humans actually perceive color differences, unlike RGB, which is purely mathematical. L is lightness, how light or dark the color appears. 0% is black, 100% is white. C is chroma, the intensity or vividness of the color. H is hue, the color's angle on the wheel. 0 degrees is red, 120 is green, 240 is blue, etc. Together, oklch gives you a perceptually uniform space, so changing a value gives a predictable visual result. That means when you tweak a value, say increase lightness by 10%, the visual change is consistent and predictable. Now, 2 major benefits. Benefit 1, wider color gamuts. oklch supports a much broader range of colors than RGB or HSL. Standard formats like RGB and HSL use the sRGB space, which covers about 35% of visible colors. oklch goes far beyond that. It supports wider gamuts like Display P3 and Rec 2020, which together can reach up to 76% of visible colors. oklch can even define colors beyond P3 and Rec 2020. It can describe colors your screen can't even display yet. In those cases, your display just maps them to the closest visible equivalent, making oklch incredibly future-proof for modern and upcoming wide gamut displays. oklch is not tied to any specific gamut. Benefit number 2 is perceptual lightness. In HSL, changing hue or saturation can break contrast, especially in CSS frameworks that rely on it. A color combo might start out accessible, then fail after a small tweak. With oklch, rotating hue while keeping lightness and chroma steady preserves brightness, that keeps contrast ratio stable, helps generate tints and shades, and keeps things visually balanced. So here's an example. Let's take these 2 colors, cyan at 180% and blue at 180 degrees and blue at 225 degrees. Both use 60% lightness and 70% saturation in HSL, but cyan looks much brighter. Now in oklch, both at 65% lightness and 0.15 chroma, they finally look equally bright. All the colors look bright. Let's toggle grayscale. In HSL, brightness is all over the place. We have at least 4 colors that appear brighter than all the remaining. But in oklch, as you can see, it stays consistent. So that's the power of perceptual lightness. And it's what makes oklch so powerful for design systems. You can trust your contrast math. Let's go back. Okay, let's talk about browser support. oklch is supported in all modern browsers. Chrome 111 and up, Safari 15.4 and up, and Firefox 113 and up. But here's the catch. Those versions came out between March 2022 and May 2023. And many users haven't updated their browsers since. Without a fallback, they'll see broken or missing colors. But browser version isn't the only issue. On macOS, oklch support also depends on the operating system itself. Some users can't even update their browsers because their OS no longer supports newer versions. So even if they want to stay current, their system holds them back. So for example, for Safari, no oklch on macOS 10.14 and older, that's from 2018. Chrome has no oklch on macOS 10.12 and older, which is 2016. Firefox is a bit better. oklch works on Mac OS 10.12 and up. That's why fallback strategies matter. They keep your colors working for everyone. Let's talk about fallbacks now. The most reliable fallback method is using @supports. First, you define a fallback color like RGB, then override it with oklch, and it works only if supported. This keeps your design safe on older systems. If you are using the free version of Builderius, you can't use @supports out of the box, so no oklch for you. But it's easy to work around. Any free plugin that lets you write raw CSS code will do. Just add your code there. If anyone's interested in a walkthrough, let me know in the comments and I'll probably do a video for it. If you're adding CSS variables, it's the same idea. Define the variable with a fallback, then override it with oklch inside an @supports block. With CSS nesting, you can even put @supports inside the root to avoid repetition. For now, I'll just show the regular version. So let's see it in action. Let's go to our page. So here we have roots in normal RGB colors. Let's take a look at our code. If we look at our H1, our background color, here it says it gives us the RGB. If we highlight the variable, it gives us the RGB again. So what we want to do is we want to create oklch from these values. You can go to oklch.fyi. It's a bulk, it has a bulk converter. You put in your colors here and you click. After a few seconds, maybe 20 or 30 seconds, it's going to generate an output for you. So if we come back here, I already have it in my clipboard. So this is what we're going to have. We have our roots, we have our @supports outside the roots. Then let's save. Let's refresh. So if we highlight our variable, now you can see we are seeing the oklch version, then we see the RGB version. So oklch is working, and we have oklch here. So this one is fine. I think that's just about it for oklch. Now, there's a limitation in the Builderius visual UI I want to talk about, and a possible feature request. In native CSS, let me see, where do we, okay, I think we can do this here. So in native CSS, you can declare the same property twice. Browsers that don't support oklch use the first. Browsers that do would use the second, which means the last valid declaration wins. Now the problem is, in Builderius UI, you can't declare the same property twice. Even though the interface gives you a custom property input, if you try to add a duplicate there, it replaces the first one instead of keeping both. So there's no dual declarations and no fallback. Some might say, well, you can just write your fallbacks in code, no big deal. And yes, technically, you can do that using the custom CSS panel that's here. But here's where things fall apart. Even if your code shows both declarations, say a hex fallback followed by oklch, the Builderius UI doesn't actually keep both. When it generates the CSS, it only keeps the last value it sees, which means if that last value isn't supported in the browser, your entire declaration fails. So it might look like a fallback in code, but in reality, Builderius overwrites it. And even if this workaround didn't fail, it still wouldn't be ideal for UI-driven workflows or for less technical users who rely on the visual interface. And for users on the free version who don't have access to the custom CSS panel, there is no workaround at all. They are completely locked out of one of CSS's most fundamental principles, which is progressive enhancement through dual declarations. So let me just show what I mean. For example, let's use this background here. Let me add maybe let's add, say, accent. Accent 400. So what you're going to see is it turns green. Now it seems this is the correct thing, but let's go back to, let's go to selectors H1. Let me remove the CSS. If we come to background, see what it's showing me. Color accent 400, right? Okay, now look at what happens. What if I put code that does not work? It crashes. Ideally, the first one should work, the fallback. So this is what happens if you have RGB or HSL and use a fallback oklch. If the browser does not work with oklch, or if it's any other CSS property, this is what's going to happen. So if we come to the front end, see what happens. This is what it says. Background is. And what I was talking about when I mentioned custom CSS. Let's take this. Let's take this. If I was to come here, ideally I should be able to come to advanced, then write my background. Something like this. But what's going to happen is eventually it's still going to come and overwrite it here. So this is actually a very serious problem in Builderius. Now, my suggested fix. Okay, this background. Let's go back to the background. Where did I have background? Okay, here where we have color. This is one suggestion. For every property, there could be like a plus, a small plus button next to each property, where you can click and add multiple values. So for example, this one could be black, and I could click here. It will give me the ability to add white. So this is going to match the native way CSS works, and it's going to give the full back support in the visual UI. And alternatively, you could even group them visually and label them maybe fallback and override. So I don't know. So I think to wrap up, we looked at what oklch is, why it's better than HSL or RGB, how to use them safely with fallbacks, and yes, we looked at oklch.fyi. If this was helpful, drop a like and let me know in the comments. Are you using oklch yet? Are you thinking about it? And there are links in the resources, videos, and articles that go way deeper into oklch. So see you in the next one. Thank you very much.